I know I'm hoping for the 15th. So we're going to start recording as we are dropping on our first guesses here. We're letting more people in. I'm going to move into the second one just because I think there's so many great resources here. And for our Lunch and Learn series, I know Dr. Murphy and our goal is to highlight as many great resources here for the state of Arizona for everyone who works in student success. But number two is, are there any great resources or programs that you're loving this fall that you would love to give out a shout out, or you have a link to an event that you want to share? I know we have two special speakers here, Julie from Arizona Board of Regents, who will be talking about the College Connect database, and we have Adrian from College Connect Tempe, similar names, different programs, who have some really great resources. But beyond that, are there other resources or programs that you're loving this fall that you wanted to share with everyone? Feel free to drop that in the chat as we're letting people in. So yeah, as we let people in, feel free to drop resources or things that you're loving this fall or that you are utilizing, just so we have that there. And you can even give it a quick little shout out. We still have a couple more minutes while we're letting more people in. Perfect. So if you think of really great resources that you are utilizing this fall, feel free to give it a shout out in the chat. I know that there's so many great things that are happening right now, and I don't know them all, but I'm hoping to capture them as much as I can. I'm going to give a quick little introduction to anyone who's just come in a little late. My name is Graciela. I am here at Education Forward Arizona. I'm here with Lizette, who will be monitoring our chat as questions come in for our two speakers today. I will be recording the session and I'll be sending this out to everyone who's RSVP'd. So just in case someone RSVP'd and couldn't attend, you'll get this along with the slide deck and any of the really great resources we've talked about. So as you drop in your guesses for question number one for our icebreaker, or number two, some really great resources or programs that you're loving this fall that you want people to be aware of, give them a shout out, feel free to drop those little links in the chat right now. I'm going to move into some of our announcements as we go in before we have Julie, our first speaker for Arizona Board of Regents, speak. So our first announcement is we do have an amazing boot camp series coming up with the FAFSA Coalition, College Depot, Julie's team, and a great many other people here in the state who are putting on this amazing resource of 4 events. They're going to be weekly starting tomorrow, the 26th. So there's some really great events happening right now. The first link we're going to drop in so you can go sign up right now is preparing for the FAFSA. And then it goes into the next week to FAFSA 101, FAFSA 201, and then you'll get some really great more updates from Arizona College Connect, Julie, again, in late November. So we have a really great series coming up this late fall that we would love people who are going to be working with those students who want to have those resources to get an idea of the better FAFSA coming up. Those are going to be broken down to 4 specific different virtual registrations. So you can take a look. I will send this out and we'll have all these links there so you can sign up for them individually and get access to those events. But I did want to bring your attention to it just in case, because I know Thursday is tomorrow and the first one's starting. So definitely want to make sure you guys don't miss that. Another big announcement is Dr. Murphy isn't in this session today, but will be potentially joining a little bit later. But I did want to give her Arizona College Network, AZCAN, a big shout out. I know they're having some really great events. Dr. Murphy's put a lot of thought into her CAP courses, so definitely check that out. We will drop the link in the chat as well. Lizette is going to be busy dropping multiple links through this session, but I will also send this out in the slide deck where you guys can take a look at all the courses that are happening later this fall, winter, and for the next spring semester that Dr. Murphy has planned. There's some really great ones out there, some more FAFSA courses if you guys want to get FAFSA certified. She has a great many different events planned, regional mixers, things coming up. So really building a really cool network of people and practitioners. So feel free to take a look at that. And then a big one is that we are going to have the FAFSA kickoff with AZCAN launch here December 1st. And this is for not for students, this is for professionals who are going to be working with the FAFSA. So we have a lot of FAFSA related things, and Julie can correct me if I misstate anything here, but we do have the QR code here if you would like to register for the December 1st event. It will be more of a day event. Right here, big thing, free parking. That's always a plus when you're going to ASU. So definitely check out that free parking, breakfast and lunch, this big event that they'll be hosting. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out to Dr. Murphy, but you can also register now. And this will also be in the slide deck that I send out to everyone. So I just want to make sure I don't have anyone waiting in the waiting room really quick. Perfect. And then my final announcement, I'll kick that over to my partner, Lizette.
Thank you, Graciela. So what an announcement is that Ask Benji started sharing messages on October 10th at 2:30. So we've been sending messages to our seniors as well as select juniors. And if you'd like to get more information on the messages that are being sent out, we do have a Facebook group where our counselors and teachers are able to see those messages. I will be putting this link in the group chat. It will so that you can join it. You can also follow us on Instagram. We are sharing resources that our community partners are sharing with their students, and also sharing daily updates on different resources. So I encourage you to go ahead and also follow that and let your students know that Benji is here for them and to help them with their FAFSA questions as well as some college and career items. And I will hand it off to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So that's our Benji update. If you're a Benji partner, that's great for you to know. Like I've mentioned so many different things. We've covered so much. So feel free to let me know if you have any questions. I am going to start kicking it over to our first speaker. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen just a second. And I'm going to just allow Julie from Arizona Board of Regents to take over, who is going to be our main speaker for today's event. So Julie, I'm just going to make sure you get set up here.
Thanks, Graciela, and thanks, Lizette. My internet connection's a little unstable, so I asked Lizette if she could please run the slides for me. That way I don't lose connection there. To thank you for inviting me today, and thanks all for joining. Definitely wanted to chat about some new updates that we have implemented into College Connect Arizona. So basically this is, if we go on to the next slide, for those of you who keep going on to the next one. Sorry. For those of you who don't know, Arizona College Connect is an innovative database that provides authorized high school and district personnel with their student level FAFSA information and college attainment data. So last school year for the class of 2023, we actually implemented this for the FAFSA cycle. This was a whole new database that we implemented. Hopefully many of you are a part of this database and have experience in it for the first year. But with it, we definitely did partner with the Helios Education Foundation and then established a data sharing agreement with the Arizona Department of Education to be able to provide you with a new enhanced database that has preloaded high school senior information so that you can help your seniors with the FAFSA application and making sure that they do complete the application, and also encouraging those who haven't completed it or helping any of those who may have encountered some challenging obstacles with it as well. So going on to the next slide, we do have, so for those of you who remember, we did have a system in the past prior to Arizona College Connect, and it was called AZ Grants. So in our previous system, we did have quite a few schools listed in it. However, within the system, we did notice that not all of our Arizona schools who really should be utilizing this system were utilizing it. So before we built Arizona College Connect, we sought out a group of, counselors such as yourselves, principals, teachers, educators, and really we're trying to figure out, how can we make the system better? How can we make this system something that can be useful for you in your work to help students complete a FAFSA? And these are just kind of some stats from the old system. We had, less than 33% that downloaded the information at least 10 or more times. And so this was downloading their FAFSA information at least 10 or more times throughout the school year, which is actually a low amount. And also really looking to see the correlation between this data and how FAFSA completion rates are. So we did notice that schools that utilized Arizona College Connect and AZ grants have a 5% or higher FAFSA completion rate than those that don't. Knowing that information, we wanted to build out this system to address all the challenges that were communicated to us, such as challenges with it being time consuming in the old system, having limited high school staff to actually dedicate to look in the system and input the information that we were requesting. Another big one was that a lot of counselors were telling us that they're not a data expert and kind of had to have some experience in the old system to be able to kind of navigate through Excel spreadsheets and how to upload them in a certain format. So we also wanted to address all of those things. So in the next slide, just to kind of reinforce addressing all of this and bringing an investment to this new system, we also were looking at, okay, how many students are completing a FAFSA in Arizona? How many of those students aren't completing a FAFSA? How many of those students who didn't complete a FAFSA would have been eligible for a Pell Grant, meaning free money on the table? And we definitely looked at these stats here. So you can see from the class of 2021 and the class of 2022, students are missing out on over $100,000 in Pell Grant funding. So we wanted to definitely bridge that gap and create this resource. So this kind of further went into creating an investment with Arizona College Connect and creating a new database that would be an easy to use, innovative system for all of our high school authorized folks out there. So going on to the next slide, I kind of just wanted to show how to set up access. So in the past, our access has been sign a paper, you mail it in. Now it's all electronic. So if you go to the Arizona Board of Regents site, there's a page on there for Arizona College Connect, and you'll be able to, on this page, see if your school has a data sharing agreement. So you'll notice where it says here, click here to view a list of high schools or districts with an agreement. If you click there, this is an up-to-date list. So you'll be able to see if your high school has an agreement, you're not sure. If your neighborhood high school has an agreement, basically it has the full complete list there, and it's updated on a nightly basis. If your school does not have an agreement, then you can easily enroll your high school in an agreement. Again, it's all electronic. If you yourself do not have access, but your high school has an agreement, but you're a new counselor or you just haven't had access to this new system, you can go ahead and click request an account. And if your high school already has an account, you have an account, and you just want to log into the system, you can click log in. The biggest thing is that existing agreements in the prior database, AZ grants, they all transferred to the new Arizona College Connect, so you don't need to sign a new agreement. Also, the data sharing agreements are valid for 5 years. So if your data sharing agreement is up, you will receive a notification saying we need a new agreement on file, and then that will renew it for an additional 5 years. And those are just for the high school or district data sharing agreements. The individual user agreements, so each user needs a user agreement. So as a counselor, college and career specialist, principal, teacher, educator on campus, just know that those user agreements do not expire as long as you're still employed with that high school or district and working with, students in regards to the FAFSA. So just know that those agreements are set there. The data sharing agreement, as I mentioned, once you click on it, it will ask for you to complete an online form. Once you complete that form, anybody can initiate a data sharing agreement. So you don't have to be the principal, you can be a counselor, anybody basically from your high school that's employed with a high school can go ahead and initiate an agreement. And then what happens is that agreement is then sent to your principal so they can go ahead and electronically sign to begin the process. And then once your principal signs, then we receive a notification for our executive director to sign, and then we go ahead and set up access. Once access is set up, on the next slide, you'll be able to see how to set up a user agreement. So again, setting up a user agreement, you just complete the online form. So if you're a counselor that doesn't have access and you would like access, you go ahead and go to the user agreement, complete the online form. Again, an email is sent to your principal to authorize you as a counselor, college and career specialist, teacher on your campus assistant principal or another administrator to go ahead and access you to authorize to see your student level FAFSA data. And then once that's set up, then you receive an email from info@arizonacollegeconnect.org with instructions on how to log in. So the whole system is very seamless. The only thing that takes a little long sometimes is for the principal to sign, knowing that they have very busy schedules. So, but once they do sign and get that email, it's good to go, and then you're all set. And everything's automated and everything will be all set up for you on the back end. So there's no human intervention going in, trying to coordinate signatures. It's all electronic. Going on to the next slide. So these are just in phase one. So last year, things that we implemented. So as I mentioned, the electronic data sharing agreements. We also implemented preloaded high school senior rosters. So in the past, in the Easy Grant system, you would have to upload a list of your high school seniors. Now that we have a data sharing agreement with the Arizona Department of Education, they provide us a preloaded list of your high school seniors. So this will be preloaded so you don't have to create your own list, and just know that this list is something that you can edit. So knowing that your enrollment is going to fluctuate throughout the year, know that you can edit this list. So if a student moves from your high school, if a student enrolls in your high school, you can add, remove students, and edit them as well. Also, weekly FAFSA completion status data is available. So just know that every Monday morning, once the FAFSA comes out, you will have FAFSA data available to capture any of those students who've completed a FAFSA that week. And it will continue that all the way through the FAFSA cycle. You also have student demographic data as well. So you'll be able to compare how many of your male to female students have completed the FAFSA, how many of your students in a certain race or ethnicity have completed a FAFSA, how many of your English language learner students have, as well as some additional data, which we'll go into in a few more slides. We also incorporated some graphs, status graphs, and these graphs are updated on a nightly basis. So just know that if you need to share graphs with your, during a meeting that you're having, if you need to share graphs with your administrators to chat about, how your FAFSA completion's doing, these are all graphs that you can print, you can email, and they really capture all of your FAFSA status as a timeline. We also have instant partial match updates, which I'll chat about. And then we have additional FAFSA tools and resources and targeted outreach as well. So you can really make the most of this data to strategically reach out to students who may or may have not completed the FAFSA. So senior rosters. So I just kind of wanted to do a quick overview here. So since the senior rosters are preloaded, just know that this data is coming from ADE. We do upload the senior rosters once a year. So even though we upload it once a year, again, we know that your enrollment's going to fluctuate. So just know that you can edit this information at any point in time once they're uploaded. And they can be edited by any authorized high school or district users. Again, you can delete a student if they're no longer at your high school. You can add a student if they just enrolled. And once you add or delete students, it does adjust your enrollment count. So if you had 500 seniors to start off with, and say 20 of them are no longer enrolled, it'll automatically adjust that enrollment count, and it'll adjust your FAFSA completion rate based off of how many seniors that you have. Rosters this year will be loaded in November, so keep that in mind. And then the FAFSA will launch in December. We're still waiting for that magic date. So just know that all authorized users will get an email from us once they're loaded in November. So if you wanted to take a look at your senior rosters ahead of time before the FAFSA comes out, you'll definitely be able to do so. That way you can do some editing there as well. So new features. So we're really excited about these new features, one of which is to accommodate for the Better FAFSA form. So the Better FAFSA form has completely new overhaul, completely new look, and on the back end, it looks very different as well. So we coded the system to accommodate for all of the new features on the Better FAFSA form and the new layout. So that's just something kind of on the technical side that we've updated. Going on to the next slide, we have also incorporated improved communications. So now we have data-driven emails to authorized users regarding your high school FAFSA activity. So for example, authorized users will get an email saying that their FAFSA completion rate has increased from last year. It could be a congratulatory email. or it can be, less students are completing the FAFSA this year than last year. So these are email nudges that you'll get that basically have a summary of how your school's doing in FAFSA completion. It'll also have some strategic ways that you can maybe increase FAFSA completion, something that you may look at and say, hey, we noticed that in your data, more females in your school are completing the FAFSA than male students. So you'll get different information such as that, which is really great deep dive. So you're not having to analyze the data, it's doing it for you, and it's sending out this information to you so that you can make some, interventions or do some strategic outreach to certain populations of students. The other thing is we have included badging. So we wanted a way to recognize schools for all the great work that they're doing throughout the year. So there's a recognition and badging, which I'll show on the next slide, but it will be throughout the FAFSA cycle. So if your FAFSA completion rate, say, has achieved a 25% FAFSA completion rate in the first month, it'll have a badge and congratulate you on that. It'll also congratulate and show highlights of increasing your FAFSA completion rate. It could also highlight and achieve the great work that you're doing in increasing FAFSA completion among specific population of students. And we've also embedded our FAFSA Challenge Awards, which are end of the year awards. So our most improved and our highest FAFSA completion MVP awards will all be awarded on the Arizona College Connect database. So that way, if you're in the lead, if you're a top 10 school within your category, if you're a top 10 school in FAFSA completion and most improved within the category, you'll always be able to check this information to see where your school is ranked, just as a way of friendly competition and as a way to see if you're a leader within the state at the end of the year. On the next slide, this is an example, a quick mock-up of the homepage in Arizona College Connect of what a badge would look like. So when you log into Arizona College Connect, you're able to see kind of this news page that we have here with the latest FAFSA information. And then you'll see on the right side, we've done some personalizing. So it says, welcome to Arizona College Connect. It'll have the authorized user's name. You'll see my name there. It'll have the high school name. It'll also tell you the FAFSA completion rate. So that will be point and center on the homepage, your FAFSA completion rate. And then it'll also have the latest badge that your school has received. In this case, Test High School has received a 50% FAFSA completion rate badge because they have reached, half of their students completing the FAFSA. So just know that these badges are available there. It's front and center. We've also modified the homepage so it has kind of a more structured feel to it, and it's easy to click, it's user-friendly, and that way if you need a quick shortcut go-to, you can easily click on, I want to look at my graphs and charts, I want to download a report, or I want to review my pre-populated senior rosters. These are just shortcuts that you can get to, or we also have the menu at the top that you can get to them as well. So enhancements have been made to this just based off of feedback that we've received. So if you have any feedback, we definitely kind of still putting some final touches on it. Definitely let us know. Next slide. So partial matches, which is probably a favorite for many. So the database matches to see who's completed a FAFSA based off the student's first name, last name, date of birth, and zip code. So if their first name, last name, date of birth, and zip code match exactly on the roster to what the student actually put on their FAFSA, it will show that that student is a match, and if they have or haven't completed the FAFSA. We know a lot of students use a different zip code, they use a different variation of their first name, sometimes they misinput their date of birth, and that results in a partial match, meaning that you kind of have to do some investigating work to see, okay, is this, what did the student actually put? You have to maybe reach out to that student and say, what zip code did you use? Did you use a family member zip code? Did you move and not let the school know? And it's kind of some detective work to figure that out. So in order to help combat that and to reduce the number of partial matches, we've added a new indicator, which is high school name. So the system will not only now look at first name, last name, date of birth, and zip code, but it'll also look at the high school that the student is assigned with on the ADE roster and the high school that the student put that they're graduating from. So this will help eliminate a lot of those partial matches, especially since all of our seniors are born pretty much within the same year or year or two. The zip code's very similar, and sometimes the last name is similar as well. So this will just be another indicator that we can narrow down that search and will result in a lesser amount of partial matches. There will still be partial matches, but we are definitely expecting it to be a significantly lesser amount. So next slide. We've also added some new data on reports. So this is one of our reports that we've had, and this is our benchmarking report. So on this report, in the past, you have only been able to see your high school's FAFSA completion rate from when the FAFSA comes out until July 1st. And you'll be able to see in the past on a weekly basis how it's growing. We've added in districts, so you'll be able to see your high school's FAFSA completion rate compared to the district. And then we've also added in the state. So you'll be able to compare it to district and state. And that way you can see if you're above or below your district average, or if you're above or below our state average as a whole. So this has been an added component into the reports. Again, you're able to print, download, email these reports to administrators if you need to, share out how well your school's doing, but it captures kind of a higher level at the district, and then obviously our overall state goal as well. And this tracks on a weekly basis, so you can always go back and hover if you wanted to see, how FAFSA completion was doing maybe in January. You can hover and it'll give you that point in time. But it basically tracks it continuously from when the FAFSA comes out until July. Just as a quick caveat, since the FAFSA this year is coming out in December, we are starting FAFSA tracking in December. So tracking is going to be a little bit off this year compared to last year because we're not able to do apples to apples as far as the timeline goes. So the timeline is very condensed this year for students to complete the FAFSA. Since in the past they've been able to have, October all the way through the school year. Now they have really January because we're not quite sure when the FAFSA is going to come out. So you'll see FAFSA completion rates definitely probably a lot higher and a lot instead of it being spread out over a long period of time. Next slide. So the other thing too is that you'll be able to compare your current FAFSA completion rate to last year. So if you wanted to see how well you're doing from this year to last year, just know that this information is on one of the charts. And again, that's tracked when the FAFSA comes out all the way to July 1st. So you can see if you're above or below that. Again, this year FAFSA is going to start in December sometime. So just know that those tracker numbers are going to be a little bit off because last year it started in October. So there's going to be a little catching up to do this year. But those are added, data points into the graphs. We also have a couple more that we're working on before we release in December. But these are ones that I definitely wanted to share out. And then going on to the next slide. The other thing that we've done is we've enhanced the system so that there's faster upload times and you're able to filter. So in the past, this last year since we launched, depending if you had a very large senior class, say over 500 or so, sometimes the upload times to populate your full senior roster and your FAFSA data could take a little while for it to populate all that information. Now it's a lot faster. So when you go to the page, it pretty much instantaneously starts populating that data, no matter how large your senior class is. And then also you're able to filter. So if you wanted to filter based off of, how many of your students have completed a FAFSA, it would be an instant filter that you can do. If you wanted to filter based on zip code, date of birth, you could do that. We've also incorporated a search bar at the top. So if you wanted to search for a specific student instead of filtering, you can type in that student name and it'll automatically find that student within your roster. And that way, this is just a quick way to identify those students. So if you have an appointment with them or the student just walks in your office and you need to look them up instead of filtering, you can go ahead and type in the student's name and it'll automatically pull up that record for the student immediately. The other thing is that, so this is our current year overview report. In this report here, I just wanted to let you know that you are also able to drill down on these reports. So this isn't a new enhancement, but it's something that I wanted to kind of address because a lot of folks go to this report and don't necessarily filter down to it. So just know that this current report here tells you how many of your students have completed the FAFSA, how many are a partial match, how many are a no match. If you wanted to see which students fall within these categories, you can right click. So if you wanted to see the 137 students that are matched, would right click and it'll tell you all those students that fall within that list there. Same thing if you wanted to see all of your 6 partial match students or all of your 210 students who haven't completed it. Just know that you can drill down. And now the drill down has been enhanced, so it provides you a report that includes the student's FAFSA summary to let you know they haven't completed it, their first name, last name, date of birth, or if they have completed it, all the information that encompasses that. On the next slide. So this is a demographic report that we have as well. So just know that this is available and you can drill down on this one as well. These reports are really handy because they'll tell you how many of your students have completed the FAFSA, how many haven't, how many of your male to female students have. It also breaks it down by race and ethnicity, English language learners, economically disadvantaged. These would be students on free or reduced lunch. We know students on free or reduced lunch are most likely eligible for Pell Grant funding. So these are definitely students that you would want to complete the FAFSA. And even if a student's eligible for any amount of Pell Grant funding, they're eligible for the Arizona Promise program. So if they are looking to attend one of our 3 state institutions, ASU, University of Arizona, or NAU, that would cover the cost of tuition and fees for the students. So definitely a plus and a way to reach out to those specific population of students. So kind of things to do now. So really as things to do now to be proactive is just to confirm that your high school has a data sharing agreement on file. So just by going to the ABOR website, clicking on that link so you can just confirm that your school does have an agreement on file. Also making sure that we have an agreement for you on file so that you have access to this data. So if you're the FAFSA point person, if you're, if you're just a counselor that you're not the point person, but you want to know this data, definitely recommend that you sign an agreement. In November, we'll send out that should be communication, will be sent out to all authorized users to notify you that the senior rosters have been loaded. So just know that senior rosters will be loaded in November. So once you do get that email, you can go ahead and view all of your senior rosters. You can start editing that data just to prepare it in December when the FAFSA does come out. And then obviously we're just waiting on that magic date in December when the FAFSA comes out. And then from there, that's when the FAFSA data will start populating. So you can begin viewing your FAFSA completion rate, seeing which of your students have or haven't completed the FAFSA. Just know that that will all be available once the FAFSA debuts. And then these are just kind of some analytics here. So this is from our first year, last school year when we implemented. We had 257 high schools and districts with a data sharing agreement. We had 377 users since October last year that have access to it. We did see an increase from our former system to the new one. We've actually seen an increase of 28. That number's actually jumped to about 40 now. We have an 82% usage rate, so that's a really great usage rate. So of those 377 individual users, 82% are actively using this data on a weekly basis. And then of those 257 data sharing agreements that we have, it captures over 50% of the high school senior population. So the ultimate goal is to make sure that all high schools that have a senior class have access to this information. So we're really doing some, awareness building like today's webinar and other strategic outreach to make sure that, if a school doesn't have a data sharing agreement, that they do have one in place, since it is a free resource that can definitely help, move the needle with your FAFSA completion rates. And then on the next slide, I do just want to indicate that, when we were in the peak of FAFSA season, over the last 90 days of last school year, there were over 13,000 site visits. So people are visiting, Arizona College Connect on a frequent basis. Just knowing that they're visiting it, more than one time a week, which is great, making sure that students are completing the FAFSA and utilizing the graphs and charts. And hopefully with the new updates that we've added, it will be something to enhance the experience and make it a user-friendly tool to, help students complete the FAFSA and then also congratulate those that have completed it. Next slide. So I kind of left some time just for questions. So I'm not quite sure if we.
Yeah, we have a couple questions in the chat. Dawn, I'll let you ask your question, and Monica, and then if you want, we have a good group, so you can just pull yourself off mute so we can capture those questions.
So I see the one from Dawn. So tried my username and password that I set up at the end of the school year and did not work. So if your username and password that you set up did not work, I would definitely recommend that you email me just so that we can do some troubleshooting. So I'm going to put my email in the chat. So if there's any one-offs such as that, feel free to email me and we can schedule some time to just for a quick Zoom so we can log in together and get that all situated for you. So I just put it in the chat there. Oh, and thank you, Benji team, for adding it.
No, you're good. And then Monica had a question. She
Yeah.
wanted to know if CTEDs are eligible to join Arizona College Connect.
Yes, so you can definitely fill out a data sharing agreement. So just go ahead and get that process initiated.
Perfect.
And then we can go ahead and get things all set for you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions at all? And if there's any technical questions, such as, not being able to log in or having any issues, feel free to contact me because those are usually kind of one-off situations that we can troubleshoot together just to make sure that you're able to access the database come December. So we don't have an exact date as of right now when we're able to load the rosters, but I'm guessing it would probably be the week before Thanksgiving. So we're just kind of waiting on that file from ADE right now. Once we do get it, we're going to clean the file up and then have it in mid-November. So we will send out an email notification. So any authorized user will get an email notification knowing that those senior rosters are there. And then we're just waiting for that magic date in December when FAFSA does come out. And then that's when Arizona College Connect will officially roll out with all the FAFSA data.
Perfect. Any other questions anyone wants to pull themselves off mute for? Something I've heard Julie say in past presentations that I've been able to observe is that it's always good to have more than one person at the high school or the district who have access to the database. So that way, if someone leaves, they don't get locked out and you have multiple people who have access to the information. So that's a good thing to double check to see if, maybe you don't have access to it, but that someone at your school actually does. That way you guys can have access to the information and kind of share that task of going in and checking it.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Graciela. Yeah, it's always helpful to have more than one. And that way, you can work as a team to look at the data, or if there's any, having somebody move or on vacation or just being out of the office, it's always good to have a backup there.
Julie,
Mhm.
I was a little late, so I apologize because I'm sure you went through this, but I'm on the website. Where do I actually access the data sharing agreement?
Yeah, so when you're on this site, on Arizona, I can put it in the chat here actually, but it would say enroll.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Because it says on there, once the data sharing is signed, then you can enroll. So I thought I needed something first.
Yeah, it should just be enroll on there, and then it'll give
Okay.
you the data sharing agreement. I'll
I
send.
see. Okay.
Yeah, I can drop in the chat the exact link so it takes you directly to that online agreement.
Oh, I'm there. Thank you.
No problem.
Because it's all digital now, correct?
It is all digital now.
Perfect. Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for taking your time, Julie. I know this is you're ramping up and your team's ramping up to, it's going to be a very busy November, December. But we have the privilege of having her speak, and she's going to be speaking again during the FAFSA boot camp series that will be starting this Thursday, and I will have all that information again of that 4-part series. But Arizona is really blessed of having some really great people in the state who are doing some amazing things. I'm going to let Adrian pop on. I'm going to introduce Adrian. He works for College Connect Tempe. So similar name, different programs. So just in case you assumed that they were the same thing, they are two separate things. I just thought it would be fun and probably still confusing to have both of them speak. So I'm gonna let Adrian come on board. He's been working at Tempe for a while. He was one of the first people I got to connect with when I came on to um, Education Forward Arizona, and he's been such a great help. And I'm just really excited to have him speak and be our special wrap-up speaker for today's event. So Adrian, there you are. And if you have questions, Julie dropped her info, so keep reaching out to her for her amazing database that she's been putting her heart into, so you can get access to College Connect database. And I'm going to let Adrian come on and talk about his program and talk about how he's a little different from the other College Connect.
Yeah, thank you so much, Graciela and Ask Benji. It's really an honor to be here at Lunch and Learn and to spend this time with you all. So my name is Adrian Cassio, and I work for City of Tempe. I am the Education, Career, and Family Services Supervisor. I've been supporting College Connect Tempe since 2017. It's been around since 2012. Today I'll dispel any myths about Arizona College Connect and College Connect Tempe, if you were confused by that. And two great resources, two very different things though. I just wanted to share, real quickly a personal story. I like to share this with students about I feel like the impact of not just what we do, but other college access centers such as College Depot. I'm just going to throw out a couple. Northern Regional Access Center up there in Flagstaff, all doing similar type of work. But I really do wish that I had this resource when I was in high school, because ultimately we really just try to help students and families make informed decisions about whatever that college career pathway looks like. And I didn't have all the information I would have liked to have when I was trying to plan my pathway out. So, I know there's maybe a lot of school counselors or people in different roles. Actually, I see a familiar face, Dr. Ruby Alvarado Hernandez. I want to give a shout out to her. She's over at McClintock High School and works directly with us. And one of our advisors has been a great partner. So shout out to McClintock Chargers over there. I will share a little bit about what we do. And I'm also going to share real quickly too about a sister program of ours. So as I mentioned before, we are a college access center. And we really do try to complement. This is my motto: complement, not complicate what everyone is doing at the schools. So really try to fill in the gaps, because we know that school counselors have only so much time and so many students that they have to serve. So we really try to fill in where they may not have that time and capability. When we talk about college, we really are looking at these various pathways that I laid out here. So really try to let students know that we're here to support them, whatever their pathway may be. And in some cases, they may not be thinking about some type of post-secondary education right away. And so even helping them think about what career pathways, and sometimes I feel like it's even easier to start with talking about a career pathway, because it does lead to talking about what that education pathway may look like. And I'll talk a little bit too about some of our partners as well that support students who either are out of school or not yet sure about what post-secondary pathway they want to take. So despite our name, College Connect Tempe, the most common question we get is, can we serve students, families outside of Tempe? And yes, we can. So it does not matter where you live, your zip code. It does not matter what your status is. We are here to support you. We are located here in Tempe. So we're at the Tempe Public Library. We do have an office there, but we also have a direct partnership with Tempe Union High School District. So we are embedded in all 6 of the campuses where we're at the counseling centers. and we get to work directly with students and see them on school campus. However, we provide also virtual services. So that really helps us to meet students wherever they are at. So we do meet students, families, parents statewide, sometimes even out of the state. Um, and I always try to stress to folks that there are so many free resources like us and other college access centers out there. Sometimes you will hear about other organizations that may charge, but please don't get us mixed up with any of them. Everything we provide is completely free. Um, and over here at the Tempe Public Library, we're happy to meet students or families, either appointment based or it can be walk-in based. We really encourage folks to utilize our booking system though, just to ensure that when you come in that you'll have that dedicated time with an advisor. And we have a great group of advisors who will, this is just a few things, a list of items that we support students with. So probably the most common thing that we're working with students, and you just heard all about from Julie, is FAFSA. We know, at least here in the district, and I know it's the case with other school districts and campuses, FAFSA completion is a priority or a goal, especially if you might be a college and knowing going CKG school. So we really try to support that goal with FAFSA completion, recognizing that FAFSA completion is a key indicator for going on or matriculation into some kind of post-secondary education. So when we say that, it can literally be step-by-step working with a student or parent on completing their application. Maybe it's just taking a question or so. And if we don't have the answer, we have other resources as well. If any of you have heard of the FAFSA Queen, Diana Mateer, we work with her and other folks as well. But you know, we find that even if we don't have an answer to something, we find it's helpful for that student or parent who's just might feel overwhelmed with everything going on, and knowing that there is somebody there that's going to walk through those steps with them. So maybe it's us calling a financial aid office or somebody else, but just providing that additional support with them so they're not doing it alone. Other things to highlight, we help students with applying for scholarships, searching for scholarships. Personally, that was always an overwhelming experience to me. There's so much out there. And I'm going to share hopefully a little bit about some of our scholarships and what we have on our website as well, where I encourage folks to kind of start, especially thinking of local scholarships and making your way out. In addition to that, we'll help out with college applications, do resume building. So again, there's college and career components and readiness that's infused in what we do. And a lot of times too, we might just be helping students with that college and career exploration. We see a lot of seniors because that's the year when there's a lot of to do things for them and they have their senior timeline. However, you know, sometimes we'll meet students as young as in 8th grade and start talking about that college and career exploration and really helping them envision, you know, what that could look like for them. It's always exciting to me when, you know, they find these job opportunities or these careers that they didn't know existed, but just by seeing, you know, what's possible out there, it's something that might gravitate towards them and hopefully give them some motivation and give them maybe some context in what they're doing in school, and even thinking about what courses they might want to take, and looking into other areas of like early college opportunities such as dual enrollment, or doing any kind of CTE courses as well. Just to highlight some of the scholarships that College Connect offers, and this is all possible through the Ramsey Social Justice Foundation. One of the easiest ways to get a scholarship is each year we offer 8 high school students our $1,000 College Connect scholarship. There's more information on the website, but on the eligibility for that. But for that criteria, it's simply if a student participates in a College Connect activity. So that would be if they receive advising or if they attend a workshop, their name will be entered into a drawing. We do that drawing at the end of the school year. And the more students participate, so if they have multiple advising sessions or attend multiple workshops, their name will be entered that many times. So it increases their chance to win a scholarship. It's that easy. If they're already coming to see us for help, they're already going to be entered in there. And we have some other specific scholarships depending on a student's status or what their interest may be, as you can see here. So you'll get the link for our website too, where you can find the more information, and that's where you'll find the applications to apply for these particular scholarships. I do like to highlight the program support that we get, and especially pointing out our partners. We don't do this work alone. So we do partner with the in-state public universities, Maricopa Community College District, and it's a nice exchange too. So when we are working with a student who may have be interested in a particular institution, we are that connector to that college rep. So again, trying to make it a seamless process for students. So if it's a warm handoff that we're giving them to that college rep. But something to mention with College Connect, there's no limitation to how long we serve students. So even when they graduate, maybe they've already enrolled, we're still there available to support them if they have questions. It's really as much parents can utilize this as much as they like. Maybe it's just a one-time thing, that's fine, or it might be ongoing, weekly, monthly, whatever that looks like, whatever the needs for the student. I do want to highlight a couple programs here as well. Arizona at Work, for example, they're a great program that we partner with, and those are, and especially with Year Up as well, students who aren't necessarily thinking about a traditional college pathway, if you want to, so to speak, which at this point, I don't even like to really use that term traditional. It's just like going to university or community college, but maybe they are interested in getting some actual work experience. These programs offer that, and they also offer a lot of additional supportive services. So maybe there's a certificate program a student may want to go for. They can help with paying for that certificate program or provide them with a paid internship. So they really do focus too on students who are out of school, whether that means out of school, dropped out of high school, maybe they're working on their GED, maybe they did graduate from high school, but aren't sure where to go to from there. And so we partner with those programs. Another one to just highlight too is Access ASU, who does phenomenal programming, and they also have some of their programming embedded in some of the campuses, especially at Tempe Union High School District. One of them to mention is support with tutoring. So we all try to collaborate and work together and make sure that we're referring students to the appropriate resources as well. And some outreach efforts. So I did kind of mention about workshops. We do offer pretty much all our workshops now are virtual evening workshops. So we find that's been convenient, especially for families to join. And I'm going to mention about one that we have coming up in November. But we also do presentations. I don't think I mentioned that on the slide here, but we're always happy to present in a classroom or to a group of students. We'll get occasional requests from schools So even though we partner with Tempe Union High School District, we still work with other schools, especially here in the East Valley. We have one advisor. Her name is Naomi Sanders, who is here at the office and focusing on the schools outside of that school district. So especially if it's a charter school, maybe it's an online school, whatever that may be. So please know that we're happy to provide those presentations if you're seeking that. And honestly, too, sometimes depending on the proximity of the school, if it's somewhere that's in Phoenix, please keep in mind the programs like College Depot, who do similar work that we do, that can provide that support as well. But in addition to that, we really try to start with talking to eighth graders, and even the conversation has to start sooner than that. But for us, we go into classrooms here at it's the Tempe Elementary School District, and have those conversations with eighth graders about transitioning onto high school, and whatever ideas or they may have about whether they might think college is for them, or what that looks like. We really try to give them that, instill that belief in that, college can be for any of them, and helping them visualize what does that really look like, and what are ways and the support that they have in high school. I like to mention this because even though we only do it here, that specific thing in Tempe, hopefully just to get any ideas thinking too about other sources or support too, or you know um, sometimes if we don't have the capacity to do things in person, if there's things that we can, other ways that we can even offer just materials, but just really trying to engage eighth graders so that, maybe planting that seed if it hasn't been planted already in them. And the big thing I always talk to them about is just being okay and comfortable with asking questions, because there's so much support there on the campuses, and getting used to that. There may not be somebody always checking in with them because there's so many more students, but knowing that they can ask questions, and also helping them think about what questions to ask. Sometimes they just don't know what to ask. So I love being able to present to the eighth graders, um, and I would say this, I'm surprised too when I hear about so many of them do have even very specific careers, like what they're thinking about. Even when they say engineering, it's something I haven't even heard of. It's like a specific title. So I always tell them that they're way more informed than I was. I think students now have some, access to so much uh, information, and it's a two-way streak, as we all know too. So hopefully that if there's any negative perceptions or beliefs in themselves, that we can help balance what messaging they may be getting, especially if they may be a first generation student, who we really try to focus in supporting those students that might need that additional support, and as well as the families. Um, if you go on our website, you could see that there is a way to sign up for our monthly e-blasts. So in our monthly e-blasts, we like to showcase all types of events going on with it from our partners. So not just what we're doing, but opportunities that might be of interest for you all. And some of the information, if you're already signed up for other newsletters, it may be a little bit duplicative, I'll admit, but you may get some additional information from that as well. So just some upcoming events that we do have. We're excited to be offering, this is for the first time ever, during the fall university tours. So we're going to be going to NAU, ASU, U of A in November. We barely even had to advertise for these because they all sold out very quickly. And we offered some of these tours in the summertime, which was a little bit harder to engage students. As you know, once summer hits, it could be a bit challenging to reach students. But we did do some tours, and now we're expanding it so that in the fall, we're focusing on university tours. And in the spring, we'll be focusing on community college tours. So with these tours, we do prioritize students who are in the Tempe Union High School districts. Um, However, I still want to mention this as well, and hopefully, just again, trying to help everyone see too what could be possible. And we found that there is a lot of interest of students who want to go on campus tours. Sometimes we meet students who are enrolled in a college and they have yet to step foot on campus. So we really want to make sure they have that opportunity to um, um, to get an idea of what campus life could look like, what are the resources there available for them, so that hopefully that sets them up better for success. We're excited for these opportunities. We're taking 45 students in a charter bus to all of these campuses, and hopefully it's something that we'll be able to expand on in further years. So this, as I mentioned, this is our first year that we'll be doing that. But something that's for everybody, and it's going to be our how to prepare for the FAFSA. So this is an annual virtual event we do every year. And typically we do it in September, but with the change in the timeline with FAFSA, we moved it to November 15th, and cross our fingers. We are really hoping that we may know when FAFSA will be out by then. So hopefully we could share that information. In addition to talking about how to prepare for FAFSA, it's all new and different for us. For some student, really for most of the students, if they're seniors, it's not going to be any different because this is their first time filling out anyways. But there may be some of those parents who did help another student of theirs with FAFSA. So I think that this will be beneficial for them to understand a lot of the differences. We're excited to have a couple of our partners, probably one from Maricopa Community College District, the financial aid representative there, and another one, Stephen Tokos from ASU, who has been a phenomenal support. He's been supporting us with FAFSA like last 5 years and is amazing. So this is just one opportunity of many that we know are going to be out there. So we hope that this is just one way for anybody to join in. If they register and can't attend, they will get a recorded version as well of this event. We do hope that if there is more updated information, that if there's anything different with college admission or college, any important deadlines from the universities, that's something that we can share about as well. But if you go on our website again, you'll find the link to register for that particular event. Keep a lookout if you get our e-blast or sign up for them. In December, we're going to be doing our other annual virtual workshop, which is the scholarship workshop that we'll be doing. And I apologize, Graciela. I think I said it. I thought I set a timer for myself, and I didn't hit the start button. So I think
You're doing great.
And can you remind me, are we supposed to be ending?
We're wrapping up right now.
Yes.
But
Okay. So this information will be sent to y'all. Graciela, I'm going to send you an updated slide deck. So
perfect.
I left it, and you can see about our partner program there, but there's my information.
Adrian's amazing. They have some really great resources, and I know Adrian has definitely a heart to help people outside of Tempe. And we know we have a lot of partners out there who don't have the access to College Depot down in Phoenix or are connected to the NAU Access Center. And we have all these amazing organizations who are going out to different areas who may need a little more assistance. So feel free to reach out to Adrian specifically if you're not already connected with College Depot or the NAU Access Center. and you're like, Tempe is far, but maybe there could be a partnership there. Or if you know, I know different people in this area are connected to other friends who maybe are in areas that are hard to reach or don't have as many resources, reach out to Adrian's team. He can definitely help you get connected. We have a lot of great resources here in the state of Arizona. Adrian's team is part of the FAFSA coalition. So thank you so much for attending. Thank you, Adrian, for speaking. I'm glad you got to highlight your services because I knew I would not be able to give all the information of all the resources that you're hosting. So thank you, Julie, for coming. Everyone who stayed, thank you so much for attending. I will stop the recording now. We will send this out as soon as I have a moment tomorrow. It's a busy week for us down here in Phoenix. So thank you so much, everyone. And if you have questions, like I said, I'm going to attach Adrian and Julie to my email so you can reach out to them on your own. And I will see you next month for the Better FAFSA event that we're hosting, which will be on November 15th at 11:30. So you guys have an amazing day, and I will remind you all about that event. Have a great day. Bye. Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you.
You guys are the best.
Yeah,
Cool.
this is great. I'll send you